For the vast majority of the human population, the earbud is a utilitarian tool, likely manufactured by a fruit-based technology conglomerate to serve as background noise for a commute. We, however, have discarded that healthy perspective, replacing it with an obsessive deification of the signal chain that borders on the theological. Our existence is defined by a hierarchy of waste, where we inhabit a substrata of consumer electronics to become self-identified monks of the 3.5mm jack. This belief system posits that spiritual enlightenment, specifically the ability to hear saliva moving in a jazz singer's mouth, can be purchased. We've convinced ourselves we can taste the treble, while describing plastic shells stuffed with hearing aid drivers as if they were a vintage Pinot Noir. We fall victim to a sophisticated placebo marketing engine that makes satisfaction chemically impossible by exploiting our eternal insecurity regarding micro details. Standard human hearing covers a frequency range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, yet IEM manufacturers market extension far beyond these biological limits. We pretend this obsession is about art, even though $20 headphones and a streaming subscription would suffice for anyone with a functioning soul. Our descent into madness begins the moment we believe hearing air requires a $2,000 deposit, setting the stage for the ultimate psychological trap. The recruitment funnel is managed by YouTube algorithms that serve thumbnails featuring shocked faces and titles claiming $20 earbuds destroy Apple. In this absolute show of a subculture, we are lured in by reviewers who operate like a collective ego-stroking ritual for tech bros. We willingly follow these high priests as they use their gospel to sell out production runs of whatever Chi-Fi flavor of the month just dropped. Popular entry points like the Moondrop Chew utilize metal builds and academic tuning targets to offer high performance at low costs. Because the universe loves a good middle finger, we experience a rush of value dopamine that feels like a thirsty cash grab. We quickly fall into the logical fallacy that if $20 sounds this good, 100 must be 5 times better. The Tangzu Wanner offers a warmer sound and packaging featuring historical Chinese figures, further gamifying the consumption of high-fidelity audio. We justify volume purchasing by claiming we need to taste the different flavors of various tunings, but the truth is we are just our bank account in the ear for an overpriced piece of marketing e-waste. This obsession with finding the next giant killer ensures we are never satisfied, leading us towards imaginary frequencies. Stage 1 of our ruin involves the Chi-Fi Explorer, wasting up to $100 on multiple side grades like the Truthier Hola or the KZ-ZSN Pro X. If you're a big enough egomaniac to believe this is for the music, you spend hours arguing on Reddit about metallic timbre. In this miserable caricature of a hobby, the dopamine hit of New Gear Day is more addictive than the art itself. High prices don't guarantee quality, with users reporting bubbling paint on the Aria or drivers failing in the $700 Sennheiser EA600. The part about it is we stop enjoying actual songs and start listening to test tracks while trapped in a miserable hardware flex known as the RMA loop. We analyze hi-hats in total isolation while our premium equipment physically disintegrates in our hands. We reach the kilobuck barrier, spending thousands on technological chimeras while ignoring the reality of diminishing returns. We pair these with $5,000 cables to pure marketing that a wire can fix our broken ears. This leads to a monetary meltdown where perfection becomes a cage that ruins every recording we once loved. In this dictionary of delusions, we start with holographic, which supposedly describes a 3D soundstage where instruments are pinpointed with depth, width, and height. In this bottomless pit of human failure, we use terms like that to describe our massive silicon-based We describe a mental projection that exists only because we spent more on resin and hearing aid drivers than normal humans spend on rent. Then there's timbre, which technically refers to the tonal quality or color of a sound. The truth is, it's just a vague catch-all we use to dismiss any set of headphones that doesn't make us feel special. Our claims of metallic timbre are usually just code for being bored and needing a reason to continue our financial self. Finally, we have sparkle and air, technical terms for high-frequency extension occurring above 10 kHz and 12 kHz. In this sad state of the hobby, that's just a dog whistle we've rebranded as energy to feel better about the high-pitched ringing in our ears. This obsession with imaginary frequencies is the only reason we've convinced ourselves that expensive plastic sounds faster than physics allows. Unlike speakers, which can be shared in a room, IEMs seal the user off, creating an isolating activity that leads to unique social pathologies. Since we're already neck-deep in this disaster, we ruin romantic trajectories by forcing dates to sit in silence while tethered to a desperate marketing stunt of a DAC. Our dates realize they are being used as a measurement rig when we intensely ask if they can hear the texture in a Daft Punk track. The term wife acceptance factor is a staple here, usually referring to the aesthetic impact of large equipment. We live in constant fear that our partners will Google the model name and realize those $50 earbuds merely cost $2,400. We become physically present but audibly absent, turning our overpriced silicon into an emotional unavailability. High-end portable listening often involves a stack, where a phone is rubber-banded to an external amplifier or a dedicated digital audio player. If you pull your head out of your head for a second, you'd see we look like we are operating a machine while clutching a shiny piece of corporate Our lectures on LDAC compression ensure we are never invited to lunch again, leaving us alone to debate sparkle in a vacuum. The community is fractured between objectivists who prioritize measurements like frequency response graphs and subjectivists who believe in unmeasurable magic. Contrary to the corporate you fight bloody wars of attrition over whether a cable sounds different than a metal coat hanger. In this sycophantic support group for tech bros, our arguments claim that science hasn't caught up to what our golden ears can supposedly hear. Companies sell cables for thousands of dollars, using materials like gold-plated silver-gold alloy to theoretically alter the soundstage. If you're a big enough to believe the hype, you claim these wires tighten the bass before engaging in a transaction. We refuse to accept scientific data claiming that rapid switching during tests hides the nuance we definitely heard after spending $4,000. The burn-in debate claims that new dynamic drivers or cables need up to 200 hours of playback for the mechanical suspension to settle. We perform purification rituals by running pink noise through our luxury-priced for a week straight. The blatant truth is, our insistence that brain burn-in is actually a mechanical change is the only thing keeping this accessory market from collapsing. Rational adults justify spending thousands on items that fit in a pill bottle by calculating a cost-per-hour basis on years of intended use. The reality is, we conveniently ignore that we never keep them for 5 years, resetting the clock every 6 months. We engage in wealth destruction by resetting the clock every time a new flagship releases. We tell ourselves we can always sell them at 80% of the MSRP, even as the market floods with the next flavor of the month. Many boutique manufacturers source drivers from a catalog and place them in a resin shell, yet marketing often emphasizes proprietary engineering. We chase the myth of the endgame, which is a pure marketing corporate drivel in this validation-starved circle huddle. We get bored of perfection so quickly that we start looking for flavor again, restarting the cycle of financial devastation. The bro-scientist archetype refuses to buy anything that hasn't been measured on a B&K 5128 coupler and treats audio like a spreadsheet. We spend more time looking at frequency response charts than listening to music while inhabiting this absolute heap of a subculture. We argue for days that a $20 EIM is better than a $2,000 flagship based on a joke of a spec sheet. The Chi-Fi hoarder owns dozens of budget EIMs from brands like KZ, believing they are successfully gaming the system. We buy the next cheap thrill from AliExpress before the last shiny piece of corporate even arrived. This thirsty, borderline criminal cash grab ensures we are never truly enjoy the gear we already own, because the next box art is too tempting. The waifu hunter treats a technical hobby like a gacha game, buying products specifically for the anime girl on the box. In this glorified support group for the financially illiterate, we complain about paint chipping while taking a giant on our bank account. All our avatars share the same fate, sitting in the dark staring at a yellow line on a graph to see if we can see the air. The ick hits during moments of lucid clarity when we realized we've spent hundreds on specialized ear tips like SpinFit W1Ss. Because my life, that's why we find ourselves at 3 a.m. using tweezers to extract wax-covered technological out of our ear canal. We stand there alone in the dark, wondering why we're sticking things in our ears like a technician of our own misery. Extreme burn-in rituals involve setting up rigs to play static noise through cables for over a week straight. In this chaos of a logic loop, we're running a nursing home for copper wire. If you had room temperature IQ, you'd see we're just paying for electricity to play static noise for an improvement physics says is impossible. These behaviors represent the shift from music appreciation to measuring the parameters of our own dissatisfaction. We ignore the aesthetic disaster of cleaning earwax out of tiny metal grills while lighting a match to our life savings. Our journey ends where the industry wants, sitting in silence listening to the noise floor of our own empty wallets in this total catastrophe of a hobby.